by us.
Hello, welcome to the HomeBhoys Live podcast. It is Thursday, the 20th of February. I'm, of course, Joe McKenna. We are back. It has been exactly 14 days since we were on, and joined by a host of headers. Scott McCory being number one. What's happening, Scott?
Yo, what's happening, Joe? How's things, mate?
I'm all good. And, of course, joined by man who gets a hard time on this show, Mr. Mr. Liam Power, Longshanks.
I can take one for the team, Joe. It's all good.
You can't. Bulletproof Kevlar, they call you. This is
John
Gotti. John Gotti of the HomeBhoys is what he is. Joined by Jason Higgins out there.
How you doing?
What's happening, brother? You good?
Good.
Marty Flynn tonight. He's consultant solicitor. We'll see him in the next few weeks. So it's the last time we were on. We have had Raith Rovers win 5-0. Bayern beat us 2-1 at Salty Park. 3-1 against Dundee United, and of course on Tuesday night the 1-1 draw against Bayern Munich. I mean, is there much point in going? Not much point, but is there any point in starting at Raith Rovers? We may as well just go straight to the heartache of this week. I mean, there's only really.
I can't believe you just told everyone the score. Just spoiled it.
You don't know the score. Look away now.
Do you remember that? If you want to know the score, look away now.
That was Celtic played Sporting Lisbon back under. I think we won 1-0 at home. Did we beat 2-0 away? And and obviously it was Sports Scene or Scottish Sports, whatever it was. And it was Dougie Donnelly, and he says, and if you don't want to know the score, look away now. And sure enough, they put the score up. And literally, as they come back, they went, "Well, Billy, a 2-0 defeat. What do you think of that?" You're like, "Fuck's sake, fucking point, talk to Billy McNeil." What did you think of that? Billy's like, "Oh, disappointed." I was like, "That's just a waste of time, man."
Didn't fucking CFAX have a thing whereby you could press the button to see the score, or you could just decide not to? Which doesn't make a lot of sense.
I don't think it did, Joe.
I think it did.
Did it?
I never fucking.
Well, don't ask the question if you think it did, if you know it did.
All right, okay.
Do you know or no?
You know what? This is off to a bad start.
What was the point of actually getting on CFAX set if you didn't want to know the score?
That's what occurred to me there now.
A blank screen.
Ooh, close. Right. So where do you want to start talking? I mean, there's so much to talk about in terms of so much to cover between what's happened with Celtic and the fact that the NFL is now going to come to Glasgow. There's so many things to cover. So I don't really have a list. Scott, you're generally good at this kind of shit.
No. You click on it because I'm trying to do the sociable things.
I've just posted the YouTube and Twitch links. So, I mean, listen, there's no getting around. The main thing we need to talk about is the game on Tuesday, because there's no point kind of building up to it because...
Well, last week kind of important as well, you know?
Last week. Well, let's just focus on the Bayern, draw, I suppose. The Bayern fucking clash overall. Who wants to start? Obviously, we're all at the game.
Aye.
Go for it, Liam.
We're not doing a pod after last week's home game, no?
We haven't done a pod in 14 days.
Oh, yeah. I remember you saying that, actually. It's very explicit. I wasn't thinking about the home game. Good one. Back to the home
game. Just go right to the away game, then we'll work our way back.
Well, I think the only thing to say about the home game was that I thought we were quite cautious in the first half, but understandably so. I think we were just trying to keep ourselves kind of in the game rather than be too gung-ho, which I think at the time made perfect sense. In retrospect, maybe you might look back and think, should we have done something a little bit different? But, it was a game where we had zero luck. We always say before these games, we need to be brilliant. They need to be poor, and we need the luck of the game to go with us. Well, we had zero luck in that first leg in terms of the goal in the first minute ruled out for offside. And I know technically Ida's offside, but he's behind the centre half who's blocking the exact same view for the keeper as Ida is. That's frustrating. We're pretty controlled in the game. Get to half time almost, bar 30 seconds, and then a bit of a wonder strike. It kind of takes the wind out our sails. Second half, the one player in the pitch not going to leave in space for a corner. Harry Kane scores a second, and you're probably fearing the worst here, really, aren't you? I think we're going to get a bit of a tanking. But for the last 25 minutes of the game, I thought we were brilliant last week, and unlucky with the penalty decision, not getting that. But getting the goal, and if the game would have gone on 10 minutes longer, I think we would have draw out the game, which would have put a whole different context on the game this week. So I don't know if you want to add anything to the game last week.
Yeah, hey, like the last 20 minutes of the game, like it was kind of like what we did in the last 20 minutes of the game, we did for 90 minutes essentially on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's kind of that. I suppose it may have taken to that point for us to kind of build up that level of confidence, that level of ability to kind of realize, we can play with this team. I mean, we can do this.
I don't know what changed. I mean, obviously, Ida played the first hour, and I think he deserved to start based on his previous few performances. I don't know if it was just Ida going off and Ida going for the middle, Jota coming on, or whatever, but I can't remember one thing that really changed the game, but we were a different team in that last 20 minutes, particularly, weren't we, last week, 25 minutes?
Well, was that at the point when Maiders just started going through the middle then?
That's what I'm saying. I think it was around the same time. Was it?
Aye. So, and that's obviously why I didn't. That affected things on Tuesday in terms of the lineup. Jason, you were going to come in there.
Well, it was just kind of that, and obviously, right unlucky with the first goal. When the goal went in, I'm at no way is this offside because he took the shot for the edge of the box, and you're like fucking. And then when it got ruled off, couldn't fucking believe it, and just so unlucky. Obviously, Ida just didn't time the run right, but I kind of agree we were a bit passive, but understandably passive. And at the end of the game, it was the unanswered question because I was saying before the game I would have played my Ida up front all day long, right? But Ida was there in merit, scoring 2 goals away to Villa, and Big Man's been playing well. And you just wonder, people said about Ida was giving Greg Taylor the protection. And although Bayern Munich were brilliant on the ball, I thought the first half they were fucking outstanding. But they didn't really make many chances. And we were kind of comfortable in defending good against them. And as I say, freak goal at the end of the half, the boys kind of skint Taylor. I think Taylor was a bit unlucky. The boys took a fucking bounce off him. And to be fair, he played pretty well in the game, but it was a wonder strike for the boy. I just actually found out he was English as well. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know he was the Crystal Palace after the first leg. But you're gutted. And then obviously the Hurricane, Alistair Johnson lost his man. But it was just a killer. And he was fucking on his own. He was on his own once the other night as well, but they didn't play the ball to him. He was screaming for it. But if you're 2-0 down, you're kind of fearing the worst. But we finished like a train, as you said, Liam. I would have been convinced if the game had went on another 10 minutes, we would get an equaliser.
Yeah.
And it was like the unknown to say was the only reason we had the last 10 minutes is because we had fucking kept them contained for all right, they'd scored 2 goals, but we had matched them and we defended well, and then we kind of went for it. But it transpires when you watch it the other night. It's the what if now? You say to yourself, if we had that line up in the first leg, I mean, obviously Schlott probably was a bit early for him to play. He was just in. Schlupp, sorry. But it was a kind of unknown. And I said at the start, I was delighted with the lineup that we had in Munich, and that would be my lineup. But it transpired it was absolutely fucking amazing. And just did we maybe give them too much respect? Are Bayern Munich maybe no as good as what we thought they were? I I think they are as good as we thought they were, and I just think Celtic were magnificent the other night. But back to the first leg, it was just what if, because at the end of the game, we deserved a draw, I thought, with the pressure that we put on them at the end, and they seemed to be all over the place. And just an absolute sickener. But we got out the game 2-1, and I was expecting hee-haw for the other night. I was expecting them to absolutely run over the top of us. And what a fucking surprise. And so that's not really anything different for yourself, Liam, for the first leg. Just kind of gutted we didn't go for it a bit more. But I understand why we didn't. You're playing one of the best teams in the world on paper anyway. And we contained them and we kind of matched them. But I thought we were a wee bit apprehensive. But as I say, it's understandable. We'd only played one team like that this season and they beat 7-1. And arguably they're not even as good as Bayern Munich. So it's totally understandable the way Celtic set up in the first leg. But I kind of wish we'd kind of went for it a bit more. And that's nothing against Adam Ida. It's just Dyson Maida gives you so much. I mean, he's pressing them for the front. They're not getting the chance to settle on the ball in the midfield. Whereas I thought in the first leg, they were really, really comfortable in the midfield. And they just kept kind of pressing and kind of probing at us and trying to get up the park further, which we defended really well. But we were kind of defending deep, and there was a lot of kind of last gasp tackles and stuff like that. But we did limit them to limited amount of chances. But you seen what happened when we had the high press over in Munich, way leading from Maida, that they just couldn't settle, and they were kind of all over the place again. So
yeah,
I don't know.
And I do think, Jason, and I'd be interested in Scott's view as well. But the one, not a weakness of them, but like Harry Kane is world class striker, no doubt about it. But like he's not going to go and chase down our
No.
So. And that's, I know we got a lot of plaudits for the game the other night there, rightly so. But I think we can play that way from the back when you got someone like Harry Kane as a main striker, because he's not going to put the shift in, and it's an easy. You're not going to get pressed in and get caught there. And maybe we showed them a wee bit too much respect. But then you've got to say, looking at Atalanta and other games we played, Brendan Rodgers has definitely taken this team forward massively from a defensive perspective this year in the Champions League, other than Dortmund, really, So you've got to give him credit for that. But it's easy to say in reflection, isn't it?
And as the total unknown, we could have went for it at home and got absolutely slaughtered. Do you know what I mean? You don't know. It's just the kind of unknown. And the ironic thing is, when we got the goal in Munich the other night, it was when Maida was out on the left and Adam Ida was up front. That's when we got the goal. It wasn't even Maida was playing through the middle, albeit he was in that position to get the ball to Kuhn. But it was after Adam Ida had come on the park. So we'd kind of reverted to the way we were playing in the first leg when we actually got the goal.
Can I suggest that Schlupp came on 65 minutes, nearly 70 minutes in the first game?
Yeah.
And then played obviously on Tuesday as well. Like, he's a big fucking unit of a lad. Like, he can move. He knows how to keep hold of the ball. He can pass the ball. And he's as much as I love Greg Taylor, he's a huge upgrade.
Oh, aye. On the face of it, in a couple of games that we've seen him, he looks excellent.
I mean, he looked like he belonged against Bayern Munich there the other night. Like, I mean, I know they all did, but he just looked particularly comfortable.
He just wasn't phased by it, Joe, was he at all? Do you know what I mean?
It was like I've seen this before. I mean, it was like fucking right. He's played the Premier League. I mean, he knows he's got that level in him. I mean,
and we saw that when we played Villa, and that's the thing we talked about before the game. The physicality down there is a big distance from what we're used to in Scotland. Do you know what I mean? So you're not always guaranteed that when you're buying players from down there. But even when you look at the likes of Bassi that went to the Huns, do you know what I mean? He's not a great footballer, but he's a fucking specimen, do you know what I mean? In terms of how solid he is and how fit he is and fast and stuff. And that's what you get from the league.
It's easier to turn athletes into football players than it is to turn football players into athletes, I mean.
And the thing for Schlupp as well, like, he played with Musiala. Do you know what I mean? And he's coming up against them, and he's no faced. He knows.
That wasn't
what he's all about.
Musiala, it was
Sorry,
Musiala.
Elise. That's what I meant. Sorry, Elise. But so he's playing right against him, and he knows what he's all about. And nothing. I mean, because he scored the worldly in the first leg, and you're just saying to yourself, "What a player this boy is." But he didn't do much in the second leg, and I don't know if that's a case of Schlupp knew his game inside out. And I don't know how long they played together at Crystal Palace, but he didn't seem fazed whatsoever. You know.
Yeah. See the goal he scored in the first leg. At the time, I was a bit raging with Taylor, right, because he'd done a few passes straight out of play, the same sort of pass, right.
Yeah.
But when you look back at it, right, it's probably a bit harsh. It was like he's deliberately took it inside rather than being touch tight to the player, right? And it's a ball from the centre half that's gone 80 yards or whatever. He bounced off his knee, and your man just hit it when the ball's bouncing. And 9 times out of 10, that ball's going out over the north stand. Do you know what I mean? But he hit it absolutely fucking perfect into the top corner. So maybe a wee bit harsh on Taylor for that.
Well,
for
you
that
don't stop strikes like that, Liam. I mean,
he's more just letting him get the shot in, Joe. That's what I was frustrated with. But we don't mark touch tight with players when it's in that. You know, if you look at it, your fullbacks come inside a little bit to narrow the space. You know what I mean? You can see the flanks a little bit when the ball's with their defenders. That's just modern football. That's the way it is. But the boys ping one from the centre half within 2 seconds. At least he's got it under control. You're not really accounting for that when it's 30 seconds till half time. You know, it was a bit of a freak kind of goal all round. But I think Taylor doesn't have a lot of credit with some people that kind of creates that frustration. But it was a bit unlucky all in. But Schlupp just gives you such a difference in physicality and pace and experience, and you could see the difference in the game this week.
Definitely.
Scattertees, you want to come in there?
Aye. Last week, Bayern Munich looked like they played a different fucking sport for us at times in that first half. The passing Rooney was unbelievable. It's almost if you start believing that they kind of thought the game was done and they kind of packed up shop because of that massive game on Saturday to come. And had we pulled it back to 2 each, I don't think it would have been unfair on us. I think they might have regretted it because they should really have seen that game out of sight. But just as Jason says, despite them looking so fucking great, the 2 goals we gave away, don't get me wrong, Elise's goal's a fucking screamer in the end up, but it's so slack up to it. And then the second goal's shambolic. I mean, it's unbelievably bad. I don't know what happened, to be honest. But I'm 100%. The letter of law might call me wrong, but I can't have it that you stand in somebody's foot and it's no foul in football, because obstruction is a foul. Obstruction is stopping somebody playing, and how can you get any more obstructed than somebody standing on a fucking thing you use to move? Know what I mean? To me, it's a penalty every day. It doesn't matter what fucking happens, a penalty. But
they use the excuse that he touched the ball. I don't think it matters.
If that's the law of the game, fair dues, that's the law of the game, and I'm wrong. But as I said to you, it happened to Dundee against the Huns, and they've come out and said it wasn't a foul. If you're standing on somebody's foot, it's got to be a foul. Accidental or no, you can't move your foot, so it's obstruction. It's a foul. Like I say, nobody will convince me otherwise. But we've kind of got back in it. He's right what you're saying. Adam had done a job. Celtic were looking great. The time we conceded the first goal was fucking heartbreaking and probably led to the ill discipline for Kane's goal. But the containment job we done at home was good. It was good. I didn't see the performance. On the back of that, you boys listen to me when I done the BBC thing, and the lassie Conor McLaughlin says to me, does the last 20 minutes give you hope? And I'll be honest and I'll go, no, it didn't. I was still in my head that I was delighted that we were going into the second leg with Sonny play, and as I said to anybody who listened to me, if Celtic came out it with credit and without a doing, I'd have been delighted. And what a goal blew me away. And we're going to come to it. But even through that last 20 minutes, even considering, I think we could have dragged a draw out at Celtic Park. What happened the following week, I reiterate, just blew me away. And that's me.
Right. Well, have we exercised the hurt then, do you think? Because it's fucking. We
haven't even started to get into it yet, then. We only glossed on the home leg.
I know. It's fucking. I don't know whether I want to fucking actually start revisiting these things. Like it was fucking.
Listen, you don't want to turn it into a sub story, right? But fucking, like we said there, goal 15 seconds before half time, leaving one of the best strikes in the world unmarked, and then a goal 15 seconds from the end of full time in the return going, like fucking, and then no penalty, offside goal, no Mieda, like all the little things that you just need some of them to go your way. Do you know what I mean? And just fucking no rub of the green, and still were absolutely magnificent to get to where we got to.
See, and that's one of the things I suppose I hurt the most, Liam, at times. It's like, see when things just don't drop your way and there's a small margin, it just grates your balls. You're just like, fuck. I mean, but for the fucking, but for
tiny at that level,
you know what I mean?
It's tiny at that level, and we've suffered from it many times. You know what I mean? But it is tiny, really, at that level.
I don't know.
The mount, as I say, the Engels penalty, the foul in Maeda. You know, it's like they're two massive things that should have been dealt with by the referee. I mean, going back to the Engels penalty, he goes to look at the monitor. Big Harry's sitting next to me, and he's Mr. Calculator with odds and stuff like that. And he's like 85% of all times when a referee is looking at a penalty decision, he goes to the monitor, he gives a penalty.
Yeah.
You know, and we get the fucking one. I mean, it fucking stands in his foot, and he still doesn't give it, and you're just fucking hell. But let's go on to Tuesday night, and we'll fucking get into a fucking massive.
Right. Okay. Well. Here's the thing about Tuesday, right? How many of us went in with a certain level of hope? Right.
No.
See, I don't know if I had hope. All I had was like, you know what? Let's not get fucking pummeled. Right? That was the level of the hope.
I had plenty of hope, but I didn't have any expectation.
But at what point then in the first half did you? Because sometimes, I mean, what Celtic said, I mean, there can be a kind of weak beginning and then a fucking strong rest of the game, or there can be a strong beginning and then things kind of water out, right? So at some point, you're kind of expecting, you know, the performance to kind of either not peter out, but it become a wee bit more diluted, and Bayern to come into it a bit more. But that didn't happen. So at what point, like, I mean, I think within the first 15 minutes, I was like, fuck me, they're here to play. I mean, they're here to play, and they've learned how to play against this team. Now, I think Bayern probably weren't at their best, but it's still fucking Bayern. And I just, as the game went on and on and on, I just seen them performing in a way that was calculated. It was calm, it was patient, and it was everything that he's been trying to drill into them without playing from the back and kind of getting the ball in sort of small spaces and then pushing it out again. It's just, it seemed to all really kind of come together in a situation, in a game where the pressure was fucking immense. And it's just, even though the end of the game was an absolute fucking gutter, I was so kind of, I suppose, buffered from the real kind of trauma of it by the fact that I saw something that I didn't expect for a start, and I don't think I've seen before from that particular bunch of players. And it was just fucking, it was astounding. It looked like they belonged at that level. And that's as much of a compliment as you can kind of give any football team.
No, I don't disagree with that. It was, when did I kind of start believing? Probably about 25, 30 minutes into the game. Although you're absolutely devastated because we've had three, I don't know if we had 4 chances in the first 25 minutes. I think maybe 3. But you're just like, fuck, I can't believe this. I mean, you you would have accepted. See if somebody says you're going to have 3 gilt-edged chances in this game here, I would have probably took that at the start of the game. Because you play away at home against a team like that, you're not getting many chances, but no normally. And I thought the first 5 minutes were pretty edgy. They had a couple of chances, no great chance, but they looked as if they were up for it the first 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, fuck, this is going to be a long night. And I think Schmeichel made a save or whatever pretty near the start. No, it wasn't like an amazing save, but they looked, and then we just came into it, and then obviously McGregor gets the chance. And I don't know, you think, do you square it to Kuhn? Kuhn wasn't like bearing down in goal. There was 2 defenders near him, but he could have peeled. If McGregor had cut that back, I thought Kuhn would have peeled off and he would have had an empty net. I don't know, but obviously McGregor's confident in his ability, and he's normally really good at getting these shots on target, and he's through, and he's scored a barrel load. But just
Jason, see that chance he had, right? See what you said there. I think, because of how big the goal is and how good the goalkeeper is, right? I think McGregor deliberately tried to put that in the top of the net, rather because the goalie covers a lot of the goal with the size of him.
He's normally good at saying low to the back post.
But I don't think there was much. It'd have to be like pinpoint accuracy sort of thing. I think he was trying to catch the goalie out by going high rather than low. And I couldn't remember what you said there, whether anyone was level with him or kind of even close to him.
Kuhn was level with him, but there's 2 defenders near him. Right. But see, actually, you see after the balls went out of play, Kuhn's kind of standing his own in the 6-yarder.
Right. I think you're right, Jason, to be honest, mate. Because Upamecano's in front of Kuhn, and Kuhn's no made the lung buster to get level with him. So I think it's a harder pass back. Seeing the cold light of day, obviously Upamecano's running towards the ball as well. But I think if you go and kind of have a look back at it, it's no a simple pass in the middle by any stretch.
No.
I think you flinging the size of Upamecano as well, because he's a fucking monster, man. You know what I mean?
But see, my thinking was Kuhn's running, right, and the defender's running, but he's gone full pelt to try and get the ball. See McGregor just squares it. I think Kuhn runs into that space, and he's left-footed, obviously.
Maybe, but...
But there'd been one of the ones you'd have been sick if you'd squared it and the fucking defender just clears it and you've got a chance to score. So, no qualms at McGregor having the shot. And if there's one player when he's bearing down like that, he probably would Jota maybe before him. But apart from that, you'd have McGregor, or Kuhn obviously, but Kuhn's not come down the left-hand side. And so there was that. And then we've obviously had the next 2 chances, and you're just like, oh my God. The one with Kuhn, you just felt for him because it just didn't sit right for him, and he's not got a right fit, so he's waiting, getting it on his left and can't get any pace in it. Oh, fucking hell. And then the flick for Heartache to Engels was fucking sublime, and just Maeda just got it all wrong. Instead of just chucking himself, sliding in, I don't know if his feet were all wrong and just got there too late. And fucking 3 gilt-edged chances within the space of, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. And then obviously Maeda has the fucking typical Maeda into it. He's just fucking lashed at it and miskicked it, and it's fucking went everywhere. And he had time, He could have fucking stoked the ball and you're just saying to yourself, fucking, I could not believe we had 4 gilt-edged chances in that first half, and that we hadn't scored one of them. And when you look back on the game, I think we've had 7 chances and we scored 1. But it was just the overall play for Celtic. Obviously, Schmeichel made his saves. The boy was clean through. Schmeichel's made a great save. They had a shot for the kind of inside the box. The guys missed hit it. Kane's hit the bar. But apart from that, there wasn't like many. I thought we defended well. They had a load of corners. They weren't really coming to anything. We defended fucking brilliant. We had more good chances in the game than them. And to do that away from home against Bayern Munich, fucking incredible. And just the full team was just amazing, man. But devastated. Honestly,
Big Casper had a great game as well. Right?
He did. He totally did. But it was one of the ones that just sucked the fucking life out of me. I could not believe it. See, at the end, fucking crestfallen. Could not believe it. And just,
Do you know what happened? Right? So, see as it got to like 90 minutes, I was kind of going like, fuck, this is going to go to extra time. I said to Fiona, I said, run across the road there and get a few more beers for me, or a few more ciders. And I swear to God, she went across the road a little, and as soon as she fucking closed the front door to come back in, she heard me going, fuck! I was like, that was the end of that. That's fucking absolutely distraught. It's just because it didn't seem like it was going to happen. Sometimes it can seem like it's coming, but it just didn't seem it was going to happen. I mean, and again, that would have been technically a win in Germany. You know what I mean? Over the 90 minutes.
First ever. And
fucking.
And see the thing, but see my lifetime, I went to my first European game away in 1990. That's without a doubt the best Celtics ever played away from home in Europe, because we beat Liverpool and Blackburn and that. They were decent teams, but that was the UEFA Cup. We've done well in the Champions League against Juventus, and we get kind of cheated in the last minute. They were a real good side. We did well against AC Milan. But that game, we actually went toe-to-toe. You know, we knocked Barcelona out drawing 0-0, but it was like the fucking Alamo. I mean, that game there, we went toe-to-toe with Bayern Munich and created more chances in the game than them, and kind of controlled large parts of that game. But see, apart from the last 20 minutes, we were the better team, if you ask me. For the other 70 minutes in the game, maybe 5 minutes at the start, they were better. But for the other 65 minutes of the game, if you'd swapped shots with the two teams, you would have thought we were Bayern Munich. You know, if you couldn't tell the players and you'd swap shots, you would have actually thought we were Bayern Munich. And just unbelievable performance. And Brendan Rodgers has got to take some amount of credit for that team. He's worked absolute miracles. And see, that puts the ghost of Ange Postecoglou and that to bed for me, because he wouldn't have been capable of that whatsoever. No chance. And I didn't think Brendan Rodgers was capable of it. I didn't think he was capable of it when we got the draw at Atalanta. Because obviously coming back to the Dortmund and you look at his previous spell at Celtic, we just weren't at the races and we're playing away from home in Europe. And it seemed as if he was like pig-headed that he wanted a team to play that way and that was it. But by fuck, he's got them playing the way he wants to do and they're playing it.
But I think the lesson here for, I suppose, us at this point when it comes to Brendan Rodgers in Europe is that, like, I mean, he hasn't necessarily changed his approach. What he's done is he's managed to get a squad that can play the football he wants to play. I mean, and yes, he does have that alchemist touch whereby he can make the average player, 20 to 30% better simply by his, coaching methods or by his managerial methods. But I think what he's dealing with now at Celtic is what he kind of wanted in the beginning, which is like, give me the players that can play the football I want to play, and we will go places.
You're possibly right, Joe. It's a good point. Maybe he was trying to implement that his first time around and just didn't have the personnel to do it. But when you've not got the personnel to do it, you need to kind of change your tactics, I think.
But isn't that where the kind of arrogance of the manager having his way of playing football becomes a thing? I mean, Ange had that too. Right?
But Ange was gung ho, but he was fucking attack.
What's Ange had to lose? Ange has fuck all to lose at the end of the day. I mean, he was fucking nobody before he came to fucking Celtic.
Aye.
Right? And now he's fucking Spurs manager and he can walk away with a massive fucking payday and fuck off back to Australia. Right?
But Rodgers is fucking top draw for me. This is unbelievable stuff. It's like you're actually. It's quite hard to kind of grasp. You see, for years and years now, with the disparity with the money in Europe, and I know it's fucking hypocritical of Celtic supporters saying that, but what we deal with domestically, we're fucking miles ahead of everyone else with money. But we're talking about the Champions League stages. We are a mile off, and albeit we still finished 21st out of 24 teams, right, and we didn't qualify. So nothing's fucking changed, really. We got to a knockout, but we still never won a knockout game. And that's no change, but you can definitely see there's some brewing here.
Aye.
If he gets backed. What you seen was an all-out bench just wasn't good enough. You know, he only made 2 subs. Made one in because he was forced into make it.
You know, James McFadden made a really good point on the BBC Scotland podcast. Thank God James McFadden's on that podcast, because otherwise it'd be fucking absolutely. There'd be Paddy Palmer just going, football. So James McFadden made a good point, right? And now it's going to my fucking head. No, that's all. He said not only is it good for Celtic, he said the performance they put in. He said, but you can't fault whatsoever. He said you've got Kieran Tierney coming, right? He said, and other players, if you're looking at that squad and looking at that team, looking at performance and looking at what they've done in the Champions League, and they've said to themselves, I want to play there. I want to play for them. I want to be part of that. Yeah. He said, so, you know, there's a lot to be, you know, there's a lot to grow, I suppose. Not necessarily between now and the end of the season. At the end of the day, Celtic just have to kind of get to the point where they win the league. And the travel could essentially be in the bag. We'll see how it goes. But it's kind of looking forward to the Champions League next season, going like, we did that well this season. And the Bayern performance is, I suppose, more impressive because I think you kind of nodded towards it earlier on, Jason. The context of the football these days, the football world these days, is so different compared to the time the likes when we would have beat Barcelona. And you did make a point, like, we were fucking in the shooting gallery that night. But see the context of playing a team like Bayern Munich now in 2025, the way world football is and finance and all is, see to go out and fucking perform like that, it
shouldn't really be possible.
No, it shouldn't be. It's one of those things that, like, you know, you don't fluke something like that. You can fluke a win, but you can't fluke a great performance.
Right? No, it's a good point. Like, anybody can come to Celtic Park and any given day beat us, but we look at the stats and we've had 30 shots at goal and scored 1 or something. They've had 2 breakaways and scored 2. That happens. But that Bayern Munich game, we were controlling that game, albeit the possession stats weren't, but they were having possession in shit areas where it didn't matter when they had the ball, you know, just inside their own half and stuff. But when we had the ball, we were fucking making things happen. You were proud to watch them, but absolutely fucking sick beyond belief.
Yeah,
that's me saying my bit. So Scott and Liam, you come in there and fucking give me a piece.
Scott, you jump in. I've got a few bits I'll do after you.
Shout to Yang, by the way. Yeah, fucking Yang didn't disgrace himself in the 2 games either.
Mate, fuck off.
He was all right, and when he came on in the first leg, I thought the second leg game just.
Youngers.
Yang in the match.
So, as I say, I kind of didn't think we had it in us. I would say, see the RB Leipzig game. RB Leipzig was the first time I've watched a Celtic team pass the ball how Brendan Rodgers wanted it, and I thought we were absolutely brilliant that night. And that resulting performance has been somewhat fucking let down by the fact Leipzig had a stinker of a tournament. But Leipzig are a really good team. I mean, the Huns can go on about how they're fucking shit and whatever. They can say what they want. Leipzig's a good team, and I thought we played them very well that night. We passed out of defence. And then we go to Munich, and you're 2-1 down, and to have the early chances, but in fairness, we've seen this story a million times that doesn't go that way in terms of, fuck, you went to Milan, you went 2-0 up. You know what I mean? We've done all this part of, fucking we went Paris, we went 1-0 up. And see, whilst you're devastated, or you're raging, you never got the fucking goals, the big chances, you were amazed they kept coming. But there was almost a bit of, see, we scored the notes too early. Like maybe a David Airy fucking Brazil kind of thing. Oh, I don't want to be scoring a new, it'll just make them angry, you know what I mean? And at 9 each off time, I was expecting them to come out and blow us away, but it never happened. and we look really good, and your belief grows and grows and grows in that. You must be the same as me. We've watched teams we've generally never heard of, small teams, relative terms in Europe, come to Celtic Park and come and play there, and they pass the ball around like they're fucking world superstars, and you're kind of going, how can we not do that?
I know.
And we look like we're doing it. I mean, you remember, I know hindsight showed us to be fucking ignorant fools, but you remember the time Villarreal turned up at Celtic Park and Nainies had fucking really heard of them, and they went ding, 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 and you're like, the fuck is happening here? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I remember Scott walking out the new camp, knocking Barcelona out, and we're saying, we've got Villarreal next. You're fucking dancing.
You're dancing, exactly.
Aye.
Exactly, mate, exactly. And like, I remember Basel being on, even this year, Club Brugge's been the good team that they are.
Yeah.
But the great thing is, you guys, again, to come back on what you guys said there, under Brendan Rodgers the first time, and Cham was his great white hope, pardon the pun, in terms of he was going to be the guy who was going to have us dictate the ball. He was going to be the guy that, under pressure, would take the ball and make us look like a really good football team. And then Cham had that ability, but it just wasn't, the whole package wasn't there. And because you remember under Brendan Rodgers' first year was exciting, almost counter-attacking football, almost Ange football, and then the second year he wanted to contain the ball. And then we kind of get to him last season where he dropped Hatate for Turnbull because Hatate was losing the ball too much. So to get to that point the other night where it was a proper game of football, it wasn't because Bayern Munich were having a shit season. Or, like, do you remember the Huns beat Borussia Dortmund and the Huns keep going, fuck me, we beat Borussia Dortmund, what a team we are. And I watched Borussia Dortmund, I'm going, Borussia Dortmund are stinking in it. Really stinking, I mean. Bayern Munich, they're no the great Bayern Munich of old. Are they going to win this? I doubt it. But it's still Bayern Munich, and it still showed, and we competed. So the goal was wild. I was fucking jumping. You know, you're same as all you, jumping about the house. It's unbelievable. We've took advantage of bad defensive play, but we've put pressure on them to make bad defensive play. Do you know what I mean? So we deserve a lot of kudos there. As you guys said, I mean, when's the last time you felt that fucking horrendous in a European game? Is it Seville? I was thinking, remember when we played Barcelona and we gave them a right good game, we beat 2-1, Alba scored the last kick of the ball. I was thinking maybe that one, but
good check.
But I don't know. My feelings are all flying about the shop because there is a bit of me that kind of goes, did we miss a sniff in the first leg? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because the point of the matter is, Bayern Munich, for the second time in my lifetime, we're celebrating drawing with Celtic. Do you know what I mean? Because it feels like a defeat, doesn't it, guys? You know what I mean? It does.
Totally.
Ultimately, it is, but it was a 1-each draw with Bayern Munich in the Alliance. Alliance, should I say. The thing that stopped me kind of going fucking gung-ho in it is we're all long in the tooth and we've all seen Celtic stand still, often go back the way. I can't see it this time, but the next step is going to be fucking hugely interesting, because you know what I mean, it's I know I'm kind of floating about the shop here, but I'm a bit hesitant to kind of go fucking mental. I don't. Joe likes to bring it up. Remember the fucking Real Madrid game when we in that tournament we had them. We thought we were kicking on the next year, and it never really happened. But to get back to the fucking point, bringing guys, they're bringing. See when they brought Sani off the bench, I've got to admit my heart sank. I was like, fuck me, man. Come on. I mean, like, every one of their players is a fucking physical oddity, man. I mean, everyone was 6'4", built like a brick shit, who's fucking, bet they smell of perfume, every one of them, fucking, and we're bringing Joe, and I don't mean to be snide about Yang, but we're bringing Yang off the bench, and Yang's losing the ball every time. Do you know what I mean? He gave everything. That's all I expect of him. The new, you're right. He had a decent first. Is there something in you? Probably. I think anybody who plays for Celtic needs an element of respect that they're a fucking very good standard football player. But somewhat similar. Do you remember we played Lazio last year and they brought Pedro off the bench? A fucking World Cup, a guy who's won everything and he wins every game. And they fucking bring off the bench a fucking World Cup winner again. Know that we're going to get to that level, but imagine you had a James Forrest. Imagine Kyogo was still there and you were swapping things like that. Do you know what I mean? So that's the next step for Celtic. That's the next step. I would love us to go and sign Sloop. I would love us to go and I would have made the deal permanent if he was into it and we were into it. Because that boy, I know he's 32, but that boy's costing you 6 million in today's market, right? I know he would cost you 6 million. So if you're going to get him for bucks in a 2-year deal, you could be keen on him. Because I dare say Tierney's going to be coming in who'll tap earner. And I don't know. I'm all around the show, but to finish off, I couldn't have been more surprised. I couldn't have been more proud, and really, really interested to see where we go next.
Yeah, we'll come back to after Liam said his shout. We'll come back to obviously what we think where we go next.
Yeah, Scott, you covered a few of the bits I was going to talk about, and like you said, Jason, we come back to some of the longer term bit, but I think the performance on Tuesday was a bit of a. It was a surprise to me. I wasn't expecting it. Similar to Scott, I was thinking 2-0 or 3-1. I'll be kind of half pleased with that we don't get a hammer in there. But I think we've got to give some incredible amount of praise and respect to Brendan Rodgers for what we've done this week. And I think if you look back, Scott, I think Scott touched on the Leipzig game, but even if you take it back a bit further, go back to final, last game of the Champions League last season, Liga Bielka scores a winner, 3 minutes to go. That was monumental for us because it took all the pressure off us for the start of this campaign this year. Yeah, there wasn't the whole we haven't won in the Champions League for so long. Took a big monkey off our back and got us in a different mindset for this season. Then we get drawn against Bratislava, first game. Again, a different pressure for us. We're playing a team we should be beating comfortably, and we did exactly that. We went out, dominated them, beat them comfortably. And it's another step up for where we want to be. We go to Dortmund. You know, I'm travelling to Dortmund. I'm saying to people, I'm confident, not hopeful, confident we can do well in this game. And I wasn't the only one saying that. And we got absolutely fucking obliterated. And it was a bit of a freak night, I think, because it kind of almost every time they went forward, they scored a goal, deflections, just all sorts of things, wonder strikes going on. And after that game, we were all highly critical, I guess, of Celtic and of Brendan Rodgers saying he's never going to learn, he's never going to change. But the only person that was calm after that game and very assured about what he was going to do and how things are going to pan out was Brendan Rodgers. He was very clear about he's not changing what he's doing. He'll tinker and tailor whatever he needs to do, but he knows where he's trying to take this team. You know, everyone thinks he's mad for what he's saying, but then we go to Atalanta, put in that performance, which was a backs to the wall to a degree, but not Barcelona backs to the wall. You know, we were kind of defended fairly comfortably. We didn't offer much going forward, but it was a huge result for us on the back of getting beaten Dortmund. And then we go and play Leipzig and beat Leipzig. And at that point was probably the most complete performance I've seen us play at that level. And again, not just because we were brilliant attacking wise, but we had so much confidence playing out from the back. And I think that was equally as impressive on Tuesday, not just the chances we created, but how often we just played the ball from the back and we got out of so many situations with really top level passing and football. And we beat Leipzig and we look a completely different team, and suddenly there's a completely different outlook on it. Bruges was a difficult game, but we managed to get a point out of that. Probably didn't do ourselves justice in Zagreb, but that's going to happen in the campaign. And then we go to Villa, go 2-0 down, and again it could have been another Dortmund. It could have been a 5 or 6, but we get ourselves back in the game and we're in it till late on. So You know, even though I didn't believe, and probably lots of other fans didn't believe, I think Rodgers deserves incredible credit for. He kind of not expected that probably on Tuesday, but he's been building towards that, and he's getting the players building towards that, and he was very assured afterwards as well, as though for him it wasn't that massive a shock that we went out and produced that sort of performance. So, you know, I just think I think the team and the group and the manager have really built up to get us to that position, and you know, they felt that they could go out and put that performance in, which, you know, took us by surprise, but was absolutely incredible. And it's just the only criticism you can give of the team was just that lack of quality right at the end of the pitch. Do you know what I mean? And it's just tiny margins. You know, it really is. Like I said, I thought McGregor deliberately tried to shoot in the top of the net, and he's been good enough this season to score that sort of goal. I think he was, you know, I think that's what he was trying to pull off, and just got it a bit too high. The one with Kuhn, I mean, Jota does brilliant to turn the man inside out, and then he just loses his footing slightly, which I think just takes a little bit off the ball that he was trying to get across to Kuhn, and Kuhn couldn't really hit it first time with any power. And you know, in hindsight, again, instead of shooting, he did just passed it kind of a bit more to the left. Mieda was right in there, then would have put it in, but there's no way Kuhn would have seen that, and he's always going to try and score the goal. The move for the one across the pitch, you know, Engels, who I thought had his best game by some stretch for Celtic on Tuesday. I thought he was amazing, and that ball would have been one of the best ones. That goal would have been one of the best ones would have scored. I think, you know, Mieda just went with the wrong leg, you know, wrong foot. I think he would have gone in with his right foot and slid in and scored the goal. But just again, fractions. And then the next one where we win the ball and he gets given the ball in front of goal. I think that was the kind of most frustrating one, because I think if he just lays that back to Kuhn, that's a massive chance for us. And I could see what he was trying to do. Mieda trying to just catch him kind of off guard, but I think a bit of composure. He could have either just turned and run it in and scored, or give it back to Kuhn. But to create that level of chances in a place like Bayern was just, it's out of this world for us. And you know, we were saying earlier, at what point do you start to believe something's going to happen? And them games, you count in the minute, then you count in 5 minutes, and you count in 10 minutes, and you just, every hurdle's a positive sign for us. But after about 20, 25 minutes, I felt pretty comfortable in that game. I thought, you know, this team looks like the main business tonight. They're here to do something, and they don't look rattled by this. So you kind of started to believe a bit more. And then Kane goes off at half time. You're thinking, fuck, this is, you know, things are starting to come together a little bit. And the boy, was it Gretzky? I can't remember his name, the midfielder, you know, missed the one straight at Schmeichel, then the header around the post. You're thinking, fuck, mate, this could really be our night. And I didn't think we'd win even if we got it to extra time. I thought we don't have that sort of luck, but I just thought, how good would it be to win that game and to say we've won a Champions League game in Germany against Bayern, even if we don't get through in the end. But fucking just the cruelty that comes with these games for Celtic to miss out on that.
What about the Maeda header as well after the 1-0 up?
And I said to you, I didn't think he could get much more on that. I'm not sure whether I'm right there, Joe. So maybe he could have done it. It felt like he just got to it in the end, but I don't know.
But he's so unlucky that he's headed it straight at the keeper. Yeah. I mean, if he sclaffs it, but see if he gets a full head on it and just heads it right in front of him, it's going right into the back of the far post. But I mean, he done amazing. He got on the end of it in the first place, but it just, again, small margins. Fucking, and he's a top quality keeper lawyer, you know. But
did the ball not bounce before he headed it?
Bounced before he headed it.
That's what I was trying to say. I think it's hard to get the same amount of power on it when it's going to hit the deck first. And
although it was still coming fast.
Yeah,
you know, it's came to the cross. It's not like bouncing straight up. It's coming at speed, and it's bounced. But I don't know. It's a killer.
Yeah, it is. But like I say, I think the team and the manager built up to that performance and that opportunity, and I think they were ready for that. And you know, I think the manager's delivered on what he promised. The players have delivered. I think the club and the board have kind of half delivered on, or maybe a bit more than that, in terms of the players that we brought in, the money that we're spending. But you know, again, without going back and not being negative, what we talked last time about Kyogo leaving, not replacing him. If you replace Kyogo, or if you keep him and don't sell him, then Yang's not that fifth attacker coming on, it's Jota or it's Eder or it's someone else of that ability.
I think the argument to keep him and no selling him's out the window. He was wanting to
Yeah,
go,
that's fine, fair enough. But what I mean is, if you replace him with like for like or similar, then Yang's not your fifth attacker coming on. It's it's the new person or Jota or Eder or whatever, and it's just that little bit of extra help that we need at that level.
But another side of the coin, it's not like for like replacement. You got Jota, you lost him and you got Jota, and they got Schlupp in, who's a fucking quality player. So
Jota's not a replacement for Kirby. We've got him as part of the same deal, but that's not the same thing I'm talking about.
I never say it's a like for like replacement. I say he replaced Kyogo. Obviously, we lost one, we got one in, but it wasn't a like for like replacement. He's obviously not centre forward, but. You got to give the board credit, and I'm not a fucking board apologist here, but you got to give them credit for getting Jota back in the building.
100%, yeah.
And I think, I don't know, but I probably think we wouldn't have got Jota back if Kyogo wasn't going to Rennes.
Yeah, it's a fair point, mate. It's possible, but assuming that's not the case, then if we replaced him, just gives you a wee bit. Might not have made any difference, at the end of the day, but it's just we need that little bit of help.
The bit that with 4 possible players to come off the bench, and you're talking about Liam Scales, you could have maybe brought him on just to defend for the last 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean? To try and get it over the line, but you're not bringing him on to try and get a goal. You've got Yang, you've got Luke McCown, and you've got Eder. That was basically your bench, and it's at that level. When you look at them bringing off the bench, Celtic need to get the chequebook out in the summer if we want to start competing against. Well, we're competing, but to give us a fighting chance to get some. And as I say, there's no guarantees. They could play a lot better and they could wipe the floor with us because we're still not at the level of those guys. But you can't say that was a fluke performance because we controlled that game for 60 minutes. That takes some doing. I've watched Celtic for 53 years and I've never seen a Celtic team doing that in Munich. Even with the great team under Martin O'Neill, we lost 2-1 with Thompson scoring and we played well, but it was coming, and I mean, you look at the players we had with Larsson and things like that, and we're so close to winning the UEFA Cup. We had a team that went on the following year to win the Champions League. So we had top quality players. But that team shone in the UEFA Cup, no in the Champions League, which I believe they could have done some in the Champions League. We were unlucky 9 points one season and we went out. But that team could have done some in the Champions League. I do believe that. But this team doesn't have the kind of level they play when you actually look at the state of worldwide football. We guys like top level players back then, that would have got a game with most teams. But nowadays, the top players are totally out of our fucking stratosphere unless we can get them young and sell them on and then they become top players. But we're not signing any top players. The players that Bayern Munich are getting out and signing, we're not even in the same market as they guys. So,
and I think that's where we come to where do we go from here? Do you know what I mean? We've never been in a better position, squad-wise, manager-wise, finance-wise. But you've always got that niggle at the back of your mind. And again, harping back to the Kyogo replacement thing, there's never been a better time to say to Brendan Rodgers, "Here's your contract. You fill in the numbers yourself, sign it." Get me Ada signed up and just go and just push that boat a little bit more at the right time there from a position of strength.
Well, I think we've got to do it.
And to give the board credit, we've got Tierney coming in who could be the best player at the club, arguably, and he's signed and sealed.
Well, we're off to a flyer straight away.
Yeah, of course.
They've got to kind of produce the goods now, and I think their number one priority is getting Brendan Rodgers.
100%.
That's. I was just going to say, how wisely do you use this money?
Well, he's worth his weight in gold to us.
Yeah.
You know, because if he was to leave, or I mean, he's got 1 year left his deal, so I would be pretty confident we've got him for at least another year. But the teams take note of Celtic, even though we only got to the last 16. And I know for us, we've never seen it, but does that send shockwaves around world football? I don't really think so.
I don't know about world football, but it definitely makes people sit up and kind of go, fuck. I mean, it's something. I suppose you'd have to have seen the performance on Tuesday to kind of sort of bookend your entire experience of how it's been. I mean, overall, over the whole course, yeah, Dortmund was a fucking shit show. But see, since Dortmund, it has been a completely different thing.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, it burned, man. Like we came from behind to beat Leipzig at home. You know? Leipzig were 1-0 up. So things like that there, and then like to top it off with a performance, and yes, ultimately a defeat, but again, and not even a draw against Bayern Munich, who fucking could go on and win this fucking thing essentially.
See, the way I look at it, right, it's going to sound a bit stupid, but like we've got more money than we can use, right? And that sounds stupid. And what I mean by that is, right, we don't need 10 players here, right? And we're not going to spend £30 million on a player or 3 players for 90 million, right? We've got a ring-fenced amount of money we can spend because players over a certain category would never afford the wages of them, and we don't need lots of players. So this just needs really 2 or 3, 2 or 3 players of Engels quality, of of that level, Jotta's, Carter, because we just need 2 or 3 more of them to come in and hopefully not lose any, if many at all, and that's maybe an outlay of 30 million odd, but we've made that from the competition alone this season before anything else.
Yeah, so what you're talking about, we need a left back. So we've got Tierney, but by all accounts, Taylor's going to leave and Schlupp hasn't signed. So you need, whether it's Schlupp or no, you need a left back, you need a centre forward, you potentially need another winger, and do you think you would look at another midfielder?
Well, I think that depends on who stays. I mean, do you see Heartache hanging around?
Well, this is it, and this the thing is as well, right? You've got Maeda there. Surely to God, teams in Europe are looking at him.
Well, here, see if you watch just for this fucking clip alone. See that goal we scored against Bayern on Tuesday, right? See when you watch that clip of that goal, right? He wins the ball, and the fucking pace that he gets to the ball is just it's unbelievable, right? And you're talking about like a rapid defense that he's up against, like a really fast, quick, and physical defense he's up against. And I swear to God, it looks like everybody else is fucking jogging.
Did you know? They didn't think he was going to get to it, hence
exactly. That's the thing, though. That's what I'm talking about. Like, for that clip alone, if you're a football manager and you're looking for that, you go, "Give me that cunt." That's the fastest man alive. I mean, the cunt's like mighty. Even in slow motion, Jason, it's actually more impressive in slow motion. To watch how quickly. How on a different planet of fucking pace he's on immediately. And see when he wins the ball for Kuhn, he just slides on his backside like a fucking cartoon character halfway across the pitch.
Aye, I know. But that's the thing, like the open checkbook to Rodgers, but I'd be putting the open checkbook to him as well. I would make him the highest paid at the club because he is irreplaceable.
You'll never see another player like that.
No. I don't think there is another player like him. Obviously, there's better football players out there. I'm not saying he's the best player in the world, but he's certainly unique. I don't think there's another player in the world with his engine.
Oh, he's milliseconds off being fucking teleportation. I mean, it's one of those codes. Go, where's Dazan? Ding! Fuck, there he is there.
You've just got to hope. I think with Brendan Rodgers as well. You've just got to hope. Brendan Rodgers keeps saying he loves Glasgow, right? And his family's settled. The thing with Dyson's family are here now as well, and his kids are at school in Glasgow and whatever. You just got to hope they love the place, and he's happy, you know. And if there is teams coming in for him to give him like 50 grand a week, we could maybe give him 40 and say, look, you've got everything you need here, you know. And the teams that are going to be giving him maybe 50 grand a week, maybe haven't playing in the Champions League every year. I don't know, but
I see him staying in Scotland for his life and starting a big company called Dyson's Highland Tours.
We wouldn't have any shortage of customers. They're fucking flocking. You're a billionaire.
I think he's just got to run around the Highlands, Joe. Is that what he's going to do?
Well, that's a thing. It'll be a rickshaw.
Fucking him trailing a fucking bus like fucking
52-seater rickshaw.
Oh my god!
And you know, you reminded me, Jason, saying about that. See the goal we scored in the home game. See if you look at it again and see where Maeda started from.
Unbelievable!
It was behind the back post with 3 defenders in front of him.
I know.
He ran round all 3 of them to be there in that position to get that goal.
He's incredible. And all right, he sclaffed the one when he said the chance, and he's no good to the one in the back post, right? So he's obviously got that bit in his game as well, right? We know he's no prolific. He'll get you plenty of goals, right? But he'll also make an arse of a few. But I must admit, see, lately he's cut down on his mistakes.
100%.
He's definitely get better. He's
100%.
definitely making the right moves. You know, but his positional sense and his runs and that's always been amazing. But with the ball at his feet, he's certainly a lot better. He's fucking 50% better than he was this time last year.
And see the way he tried to chip the keeper there? I think he actually believed he could do that. Like he was confident enough to try that one, rather than being a bit like maybe not thinking it through. I think he's in that sort of form. He thought he could do it.
And he's mishit it. See it again. He's fucking mishit it. I've just checked the chat there. I'll plunk it. My mate Paul, he lives in Australia. You know, I sent him a package here last week. We've got a load of t-shirts. He's at work now in Australia. He says, hail, Jay, we're listening away at work. All right, Punky babes.
Yeah, Punky. You mind yourself.
Aye, but it's... so, I think Celtic should be throwing the kitchen sink at him to keep him. And just pray that he's happy and just loves life here and he wants to stay. But you've got to think there's got to be a ton of teams out there saying, fucking sign him up. There must be.
But do you know what? I firmly believe you. There must be, right? Because if you're a football manager looking at him, like, even if you're not buying him for his fucking football prowess, right? You're buying him for the athletic side of it. Everything's a positive. Everything about him is a positive. There's no downside to signing the guy.
Was it not the Champions League stats for the past? I don't know how many games it was, but he ran more yards than anybody in one full round of fixtures. See, and over the 2 weeks he was second in the next round of fixtures. Like, it's unbelievable. His stats are just fucking wild. Absolutely off the scale.
I love the fact that he seems to cover every distance at the same speed. It doesn't matter if it's 4 yards, 10 yards, 30 fucking yards.
Did you know think as well? See, like in the first maybe half hour of that game, do you know think he was quite reserved? Like he wasn't making mad runs when it was. He was like see when the ball was going back to the keeper. He wasn't just like chasing it down when it was a lost cause. He was picking his fights.
I think he's smart enough to know if I show these cunts what I've got immediately, they're gonna be unsurprisable. You know what I mean?
I don't know, but he done a lot more in the second half. But
and he also knows that they're gonna be more tired chasing him. I mean, he's gonna I wear these cunts down, and then I'll fucking light them up because he's operating with the same level of energy at 90 minutes as he is with fucking 5 minutes.
And interestingly, folk have said to me, do you think if we still had Kyogo up front, we would have scored some of the chances? And my point to them was, if Kyogo was up front, then we wouldn't have had the chances.
No, it wouldn't have happened. It would because No, it's just he's just that rapid. It's it's freaky.
See that one see the one we're talking about where he tried to chip the keeper and made the balls up. I can't get out of my head. You know, was it against the Huns where Kyogo had that one in exactly the same spot and he just kind of placed it right in the corner of the goal past Butland? Was it not a similar setup, similar position?
When he reached for it, like
was it Ibrox? I think, yeah.
It was the one. It was the first game of the season last year.
Right.
Or no, this season. Last season.
Yeah.
The first Rangers game of the season. I was in Italy when he scored it.
I thought it was quite similar. You know, I remember he just passed it into the net from kind of just outside the box.
I know. Could have been. But I'll tell you another one that didn't get much wrong the other night. He misplaced a couple of passes, but I thought Heartache was outstanding. I thought his pressing, his work rate was outstanding. He did misplace a couple of passes, but I thought he had a great game. I think he's actually come right on it again the past few weeks after kind of getting slated a bit. He's kind of shown his class again.
Yeah.
But let's face it, there was no fucking failures there. I mean, Alistair Johnson, probably his best game in a Celtic shirt. He was outstanding, I know.
I thought he was out this world, yeah. Him and Engels, I thought probably had their best games. And again, going back to Tini, you know, you think when you put Tini on the left and Johnson on the right, Trusty and Vickers and Schmeichel, that's a great back five, isn't it, for us?
Trusty's played really well on all right lately.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But it was very good. Just quickly on my Ada, only one annoying thing was not annoying, but when he got elbowed in the head there right at the end, and
that fucking.
We should just roll about the place, man, and fucking. That's one thing where we are well behind other teams in terms of being streetwise at that level.
Well, I think that's a downside of having Japanese players.
By the way, I've not seen it.
Normally, if you fucking have his hand in the air, fucking screaming and shouting, going and making a scene. I mean, because he's fucking Japanese, he's like, it's up there.
Well, I've not seen this bit myself, but seemingly the defender yanked him to his feet.
He elbowed him. He kind of elbowed him, fucking kind of backslapped him with his arm, essentially.
No, I'm talking about once he was in the deck.
No, he pulled him up. He tried to pull him up.
Aye. And if the guy's doing a head knock, but obviously the defender, maybe the defender knows that.
But the referee's looking right at the two of them, and he just kind of points, just on you go.
I wouldn't say yanked him up, but he was clever enough to lift him. I mean, the defender's about four times the size of him. Do you know what I mean? But he just kind of helped him up, shall we say?
It says the defender. He could have thrown him under the stand. Nobody knows.
The game should have been stopped with a head knock.
Yeah,
but you don't get that when you're the B team in the championship.
That's where the corruption sneaks in the smallest crevices, isn't that? No.
That's what we're saying. If he'd have rolled himself around and made a big deal out of it, and I know it's cheating to a degree, but everyone else does it. We suffer enough from it.
Kick your legs out and fucking fake a fucking seizure. Fucking let's go.
I know. Exactly. How about Scott? Scott, what do you think, mate?
Scott's still there.
He's gone for a kip.
What my comment on the Maida thing?
Anything you want, Scott. Anything you want.
That's the kind of clued in analysis we're looking for here.
No, well, you did talk about quite a fucking lot there.
You can just say
here's 18 subjects. Here's 18 subjects. What do you think? Aye, fucking. So
I'm with you, fellas.
Are you specifically talking about Maida thing? It's a foul, and if it's not a foul, he should stop the play. Plain and simple. And Maida, fair dues, a big boy, but we should have been running the fucking. Imagine Atletico Madrid. Hanging would have been your man, but Simeone would have been on the pitch. Fuck's sake, we've got to be wiser. We've known about this. We've known about all these things. We moan about them. We've got to be wiser. We've got to be. See the thing is, KT's coming back. KT's coming back.
He's an expert.
And KT was a fucking. We sat at the back of that fucking stone. You could hear KT when he was doing. That's what you should be doing. You've got to, especially at a point in that game. All we had to do was hold on. See in hindsight, I dare say we'd have maybe get beat 3-1 if it went extra time.
Aye.
Because
Wouldn't have been beyond the realms of possibility.
we looked done in. They brought on Coleman, fucking Sani.
And Muller.
They
Muller
look
come on
like
as well?
they had the energy. What?
Did Muller come on as well or no? Was that the first game?
Muller come on just as after the goal. So they're bringing off these guys, and Tommy Muller's always one for a fucking stinking goal to bounce off his face. But no, we've just got to be wiser. We've got to be wiser in all this, know what I mean? Because that's just the fucking way it is. It just really is.
I know.
Again, a bee's dick away from between triumph and trauma. Right?
So what do we think, right? What's our honest opinions, right? Come the close season, right? We're taking it that Brendan Rodgers is going to be here minimum 1 more year, right? So we've got a Champions League qualifier, and I've not got them at hand, but I think there's 5 possible opponents we'll have. And is Mould up now?
I'll find him.
Aye, they've been circulating about.
Bratislava was one.
Bratislava's one of them. Aye.
Karabag, I think, was one.
Yeah.
Scott, come on, you're not really good at this stuff.
You take Slovan Bratislava all day long.
All day long. Yeah, fuck, you're right then.
But you're thinking, if we keep this team together, well, first of all, let's discuss that. Do we think we will keep all our starters who started in Munich as Celtic players next year?
Well, that's what I mean by spending money wisely, though.
So I'm just going to. So Celtic are currently 39.13, bottom of the fucking seeded teams, unseeded. Slovan Bratislava, Basel, Karabag, Ludogorets, and Sturm Graz.
Sturm Graz, right?
You're not scared of anything, are you?
No, absolutely not. I mean, even Basel, the name Basel kind of gives you a wee bit of fears because of past history. But Basel were coming up against a Yeti. Fuck's sake.
Aye. And, well, in saying that, if we go out there and then we get to the UEFA final or the Europa League final, when we have a bad thing, that's what happened, wasn't it? It was them that knocked us out. So, day 5, right? So, we're looking at Celtic starting 11, right? So, a yes or no answer to start with here, right? So, what do you think, Scott? Do you think the 11 starters that we had in Munich, do you think they'll all be Celtic players by the start of next season?
No.
What about you, Joe?
No. But
yes or no, that's it. Liam?
No, but a caveat is like...
no caveats, cunto.
Hell. Right. Liam?
No, we'll lose 2 of them.
I would say no as well, because the realms of possibility one of them's going to go, right?
Well, so,
right, that's a fair point, right? So you've talked out the 10, right? Out the 10, do you think they'll be there? Is it still a no?
Still a no.
Aye,
no,
we all still a no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So the next thing is, out of all the players, who do we think is the likeliest to leave?
Ooh.
Scott.
I've got a mix of. I think Kuhn.
You think
Kuhn?
Me too.
But I think Hatate as well.
I think Hatate, and I think a surprise one might be AJ.
Nah.
I think there could be a big bid coming. I've got a lot of worry about Maeda, AJ, Kuhn, and Hatate. They would be. I think Engels will give us another year. I think he'll be happy to learn more and play next year with the Champions League. I think as a midfield go, I don't think Bernardo will be leaving anytime soon. He's been unlucky with injury, so he'll be here. McGregor will be here. But Hatate, if the right bid comes in, I could see him going. Maeda, I think we could have a worldly bid in for him that they'll just won't say no to, which would be fucking absolutely devastating. And AJ, I could see a bid coming in for him. Definitely. So that would be, say you were to lose 2 out of the 3, that's a big rebuilding job you've got next year, because you're needing a centre forward, you're going to need a midfield, a couple of midfielders maybe, a fullback, and a winger. So then for the position of strength we're in at the minute, because I think it's silly to think the guys are all going to stay. None of them are Celtic supporters, none of them were brought up here, none of them are, not that really matters anyway, but at the end of the day, a lot of them, it's just down to your bank balance, isn't it? And it's what comes in for you. And I could see a bids coming in for them without a doubt, but I just hope no. And then that brings us to, if we do lose a few of them, do we think the board will back Brendan? Because let's face it, if they leave, you're talking about, I would say, with the exception of Heartache, every other one is going to be 20 million minimum. Would you agree with that?
I don't think someone who paid 20 million for me either is worth that to us, but I don't see anyone.
You don't think?
It depends on who's banned, I think.
Surely, if nobody gives us a bid of 20 million for Maeda, Celtic knock it back if he's happy enough to stay. See, Maeda would be the outlier for me, and he would be like a Henrik Larsson type that you would just say, look, there's a contract, just stay here as long as you want. Because I think his value to the team is, you just can't put a price on it. I know I'm kind of biased.
I do agree with you. I just don't know if that's possible with a guy like that, or the way kind of football and finance works. I mean, I know he appears to be a very down-to-earth and level-headed and genuinely fucking loyal dude. But somebody comes along and Saudi Arabia comes knocking, fucking throwing him like multi millions. He's at the door, right?
No. I agree with that. But Liam says he doesn't think you get 20 million for him.
I don't know. I know when Liam says he doesn't see anybody bidding 20 million for him.
I'm not saying he's not worth 20 million. I don't know. I don't see teams coming in for him. It's just a bit eccentric, maybe, for some of the bigger teams to spend that sort of money on him.
But again, if the Premier League comes wanting to buy your fucking main player, you're slapping him with 20-25 million.
Yeah, Trace, it's not a criticism of him, by the way. I just don't see him going for that sort of money.
Oh, that's fair enough. That's a fair point.
Here's the thing about a guy like that, right? You can imagine like all these Japanese players eventually want to go home to Japan. Same as Nakamura did, right? Because at the end of the day, how many of these Japanese or these Asian-based players come and play and then don't end up going back to their own culture? They all wind up going back to their own culture. That's obviously that makes sense, right? So he's going to go back and play in Japan to end his career. So if we can hang on to him until then, and he's happy with it, that'd be fucking like. I mean, you that's like you've won a watch there.
I mean, for me, I don't think he's someone that agitates to go away. I don't think he's massively driven by big pots of money. He's a Japanese starter, so he's not got the Kyogo angle of he thinks he needs to go and play somewhere else. So I think he'll maybe stick with us for a little bit longer.
I know, but here's the thing, right? As fast as athletic as he is, Father Time waits for no man. You know what I mean?
He's got a long time to go, man.
I know, but like, if we can get to the point where we go, he's lost a half a yard, and he fucks off back to Japan.
He's lost half a yard. He's still the fastest guy in the world. He lost about fucking 40 yards if they bring him back to normality.
Joe, he's got a lap for at the time. Fucking no.
Fucking half a yard at least. He's needing to lose half a yard. Get that mere composure.
Fuck's it. Cuts his hair and gains a yard.
Fucking hell. What age is he? Is he 26, 27?
Oh, God. Is he 26? I think he is about 26, huh? Do you know what, though? He looks wise and distinguished.
But it does. So,
28 in October.
28.
There you go. So, see,
I was that fast and I was 28.
I know Liam said they didn't see a big bid coming in, but surely if you get like, surely Celtic don't let him go for 10 million quid.
That's the sort of figure I would expect, Jason. If there was a bid, I'm not saying people won't want him and he's not worth a lot of money. I don't see 20 million. But he's worth far more than 10 million to us, so there's no point in us selling him at that sort of money.
Here's a thing, Jabo, right? And it's just occurred to me right now, right? He's a mad baseball fan. You know that?
Yep.
Right? Stops playing football, right? Loses fucking 2 or 3 yards. He can play for the Mets. Imagine that cunt going to base.
I mean, Jason, put it right. Let me put it another way.
Before you can even catch a ball.
Right. Who's the most influential player at Celtic? Without question.
Callum McGregor.
Callum McGregor, right? Why is nobody coming and paid 20 million for him in the Premiership, which is like, it's fucking buttons.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, I just think some players maybe are not sexy enough or not.
No,
They just don't
I
fit
think
a
some players have
profile.
the life they want. Like McGregor has the life he wants. Like he's the king of the castle.
I'm not saying he'd ever go, Joe, because I don't think he would. But I mean, why has there not been any big bids in for Callum McGregor?
Maybe there has been, and he's. You know, maybe they've spoke to his agent. His agent's like, he's not interested in moving.
Yeah.
I don't know how these things work.
Is it just going? I don't like doing too much work, mate. I'm not talking to him. Fuck off.
Like your KT's agent, he must be fucking pulling his hair out. Like he 3 offers to go to English Premiership teams.
Yeah.
And he just tell his agent no. And by all accounts, for the last 2 years, he's been trying to angle to get back to Celtic. And his agent's like, "Are you off your nut?" And he's just like, "Well, just that's where I want to go."
Well, it's good. Exactly. You know what? Fair play to the cunt, because what he's doing what's good for me.
Aye.
And maybe the likes of AJ and Maeda, who don't come from traditional footballing nations, right? They're at a club where there's 60,000 fans every week. Maybe they think, fuck me, it doesn't get much better than this, and that's probably true as well. Do you know what I mean?
I actually never thought about that. The fact that they're going like, this is wild. I wouldn't get this in my home.
Yeah. See if you're Spanish or South America, you know, England's probably that's where you're wanting to get to. But these boys are probably thinking, "Fuck me, we're one of the biggest clubs in the world here," which again is true, just not in the biggest league at the minute.
I've got to run off to the toilet. That's back in a second, okay?
But I think at the end of the day, everybody's like your bank balance. You know, you're at the other end of the world for a career, right? And you're earning X amount, and then somebody's doubling it or trebling it. I don't think it matters how many fans you're playing in front of. They went to the odd. They went to be a right outlier. But you know, say you went to America, right? It's a different scenario altogether, right? But you went out and played baseball or whatever. And you didn't come from that background, and you're playing with some team and they're selling out the stadium and whatever. But then you're coming to free agency and a team's offering you 3 times what you're getting to the club that you love. You're leaving, aren't you?
You are. I mean, I wonder what sort of money Kyogo and Maeda and Heartache were earning in Japan before they come to Celtic.
I don't actually know.
What do you think they've gone from, like 5 to 15 or 10 to 20 or?
I would think about 5 to 15.
Yeah,
probably. I don't know what Japanese. Obviously, is the cost of living expensive? I think the cost of living in Tokyo would be more expensive than here. But maybe, I don't know, maybe $8,000 to 20 or something.
But you don't see them generally agitating for moves quickly, do you? Like, you know, coming for a year.
Hang that back to Joe's point. I mind there was a study years ago, and it was about plane crashes, and obviously there's loads of plane crashes now. But they actually said, it's probably different now, right? You know, but this was 20 years ago, I'd seen this. It was something through the work, and it was saying there's a lot more plane crashes in Asia than there is in America and Europe,
right?
Because of the fact that the co-pilot is very obedient and wouldn't challenge the pilot. You know, they just kind of know their place. See, with their culture. Yeah. Whereas if you're an American or you're British or whatever, you'd say, "What the fuck are you need to do this?" You know, they're more respectful, and like they don't like you don't see them get into trouble. You don't see it's kind of the way they're brought up.
Yeah.
They've kind of got a bit of respect about them, and I don't know. And it's like probably a lot easier to work with.
Yeah, 100%.
Aye. So I kind of get that, but I'm under no illusions. At the end of the day, when somebody's flashing a checkbook to you and whatever, I get the Kyogo point. If his main driver was getting into the Japanese World Cup team, it's fair enough. You might have picked a better team than that, right enough. Fucking 5 points above relegation. He's not even getting a start.
I guess it's a double-edged sword for us, isn't it? I think Joe made the point earlier about McFadden was saying players are going to say, I want to go and play for Celtic based on what we've seen. But then also, if you're looking to improve your squad at that level for relative decent money, then you're going to be looking at Celtic players, aren't you, and saying, well, we can pick up these players who are proven at that level now or starting to be proven at that level for a lot less than we get them from the bigger leagues.
Aye. And that thing that I was looking at today when I said on the chat, none of you kind of comment on it, so I don't know if it meant anything.
I'll be grafting all day, man.
They actually look that you're playing 40 odd league games a season.
Yeah.
You're playing 12 Champions League games a season. It's like a quarter of your season is the Champions League.
Oh, trust me, mate. Home Cup ticket scheme, I'm fully aware of that.
but you know what I mean? It's a hell of a lot. It's kind of like an unofficial European league. But
that's exactly why they've done it, for that reason, because like you said, it is now like a European league, and for Celtic, it's massive. This new competition has been nothing but a benefit to us. Every aspect of it, every aspect of it, and not being complacent. But if they're the teams we need to get past to get back in it next year, which gives us 2 qualifying games and then potentially 8 or 10 again. Fucking hell, man. We're blessed just now to have that sort of structure in place.
Totally. And you just hope that Celtic don't fucking the way we'd done in the past. They would wait to see if they qualify and then make the signings.
But it makes no sense, does it, at all? Because if you look at it, we've got 660 million in the bank, right? B, we've got a lot of assets in the team. C, the worst case is we're going to be in the Europa League group stages, straight into them, and we probably have a decent chance of getting to the really latter stages. But ideally, we're going to be in the Champions League. I mean, there's no downside, is there? There's no like.
They did it every year going past.
I know.
But so Scott, if you want to come in here, because you kind of mentioned it at the start when you were doing your summary of the game at the end of the season. So what do you think Celtic will do in the close season? Do you think they'll sign 3 to 4, 10 million type players to potentially take us to the next level?
As you boys have rightly said there, it really comes down to the outs, doesn't it? I mean, that's what kind of hamstrung us somewhat the season before, if I'm right in thinking, was you come in and you think you need a left back and you think you need a winger, and then you lose Starfelt straight away. Do you know what I mean? So you're then chasing about for a centre half, which you hadn't planned for. Do you know what I mean? I mean, the whole first year. So really, as we sit the new, I would like to think that Rodgers knows the majority of people's thoughts. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
Does that make sense?
If they're ready to stick a twist.
Yeah, because I've heard Maeda's want to do Hattati's want to do it the last 2 summers, and due to injury and his own form, he's never got anywhere near the move that he desires. So I'm always conscious. I think he's the guy. However well did he do the other night, and I think he did as well, Jason. I thought him and Engels were really good, but I think he's your obvious guy that you look to improve on. And I don't say that with any glee or any dismissal of his abilities and qualities. If you could make Reo Hattati a consistent midfielder, then he's a superstar. But that's the big thing. I mean, we can't have him playing 2 and 3 games. Do you know what I mean? And then stinking the rest out. That should always be the aim. We spoke about this years ago by basically saying Celtic can always improve at every position. Whether it's fucking legitimate, whether it's realistic is one thing, but generally we can improve. So I would like to think that Brendan Rodgers, before the season's even ending, he's sitting down with Nicholas Kuhn going, right, you want to give this another year? Yeah. Because as I've got Nicholas Kuhn, he's got a contract to the summer of 2029. So we're not under any duress on that hand. I think he's your big option. Celtic Football Club have often, we know the ins and outs. I mean, Kieran Tierney basically pushed the door, you know.
Say that again, Scott, you broke up there.
Sorry, mate. I says Kieran Tierney was basically pushed out the door. And as far as we know, Jota was pushed out the door because the deals were to be that great. Do you know what I mean? And as you said before, we try to push them with Everton at one point.
Aye.
Celtic know what they're doing. I would like to believe that this Champions League and the money that has come in will allow us to negate that, would allow us to kind of miss that step this summer and build on what we've got. But you guys have covered it in depth. There's no point fucking, as soon as fucking somebody turns up and goes, I'll give you 8. Because you've got guys sitting on the bench, no kicking a ball, earning 80, 90 grand. I mean, look at Kieran Tierney, man, for example. They need KT sitting on the bench, no kicking a ball, and he's earning fucking an obscene amount of money. Do you know what I mean? So
a single minute, has he, since fucking the transfer deadline?
Since that window, aye. So I mean, you're legitimately talking about. I mean, it's probably, again, what you said, it's probably Dundee United or Dundee sitting going, look at fucking Celtic. They've got fucking Luke McCowan sitting on the bench and he's not doing nothing. I don't think I brought it up to kind of go on a wee tangent to come back. It was funny how much I was going after one about Bayern Munich the day after we played them at home, and I was like, fuck me, you could have flung another ball in, they were that good. But see, on the Monday before that game, I'd been watching a Raith Rovers podcast, and they were talking about the game they played against us, and it was quite mad listening to these guys. So one guy was saying, I've never seen Callum McGregor in the flesh. That's the first time I've watched him in the flesh. What a football player this guy is. He says, what a foot. He says, it was a joy to be sitting in the stadium watching a player good, right? Then he started going on about Tony Ralston. Another guy, he's like, by the way, see these Scotland fans who say Tony Ralston's shit. Well, the standard of their team must be brilliant because Tony Ralston was amazing. And these boys were sitting, and don't get me wrong, they're usual that we could be a soulless entity, unlike the great fucking community club they are, right? And that's fair dues. But in terms of our team, they were sitting going, fuck me, they're good, man. And it was quite mad listening to that, considering we generally listen to Dundee fans going, cheating, selling, feeding bastards and all that. I mean, it was kind of mad to hear another team just appreciate, and in the same way that we would appreciate Bayern Munich and the likes. I thought that was funny. But to go back to your point, sorry for the tangent there. No, Nicholas Kuhn's the one I'm concerned about. He's a guy, I think, that the club, if a decent bid comes in, the club wouldn't be short. But the thing is, though, see if you keep Carter Vickers, you're keeping Schmeichel, you'll keep McGregor, and as you said, Maeda, we've still really got to strengthen the forward position. But I don't know. Celtic could show a massive set of balls by rejecting big bids. As much it's as important as signing you guys, but we definitely need to strengthen, obviously.
I think see the rejecting bids, right? That's all good and well as long as the guy's happy to stay.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah.
But do you know what? See, using a comparison, right? And I think it is quite pertinent, right? But when you actually think of the Martin O'Neill team at the UEFA Cup final, right? we're a ball hair away from winning that UEFA Cup, and Porto win it and go on and win the Champions League, right? We had no money in the bank then, and we were paying out fortunes. So, albeit we've not got to a Europa League final or anything now, right? But we've definitely seen the shoots of fucking hope that, you know, this team could turn into fucking massive flowers. You know, the way it's gone now, you've seen the potential in this team. Now Celtic's sitting with a pot full of money. They're not in the position where we were after Seville, where they get rid of the team and they get Strachan in, and Strachan had to fucking rebuild the team on a lesser budget, albeit he signed a load of players, but he had to drastically cut the wage bill. We're in a totally different position here, that we have got the money and we've got the manager. And if you can get the manager to commit to another couple of years, then there is nothing stopping Celtic. And let's face it, it's not as if you're pissing money away. You're signing guys, and they've proved that they get money back for players. So you're going to be signing quality that, let's face it, they're not guaranteed to produce the goods. But on the evidence that we've got in the past few years, the vast majority of them have produced the goods, and they're massive saleable assets. And it's not as if they say, you give this team another couple of years, they're all going to be by the selling window. They'll still be worth fortunes, because the average age of the teams are still really young. And our top players that we would say are still in the prime. So I think Celtic should really go for it this year, and I pray that they do in the summer and get them in, and God willing, we win that Champions League qualifier, and then we try and get to the last day. Or obviously it depends, you draw, you get and whatever, and you're playing top class teams. But we've proven with this run here that we can compete. And I've no doubt if we were to go and play Borussia Dortmund away, it wouldn't be. I'm not saying we'd beat them, but it wouldn't be 7-1. It wouldn't be anywhere near it now. And I just think they need to speculate to accumulate now, and they have to push the boat out and get some quality players in. And I would use Engels as the benchmark. That's the type of player we're trying to get in. Whether if it's the guy for Denmark, or, you know, or wherever the boy came, where's the guy?
100%. I mean, the way Engels played on Tuesday there was fucking unbelievable. And you know, I'm sure you all noticed that, but tactically Celtic, when they weren't the ball, Heartache went and played up alongside Mieda, and we played like almost 4-4-2 defensively, which put Engels right in the middle with McGregor, and he was everywhere, man. He was all over the place, like in a good way. I mean, he got himself all around the pitch, and when you look at him being able to play like that, you think him and McGregor would be a tremendous pair in the middle, and then you could, if Heartache does move on, you could really just try and put some stardust in that kind of attacking midfielder role where O'Reilly was so good for us last season. And maybe that's where we just need to put a bit of money into that sort of player.
Right. And there will be players out there. See how that carry on, or you can't sign them. You can.
Of course you can. We've proven it.
Right, exactly. And if you pay good money for young players, and I don't mean like 19-year-olds and stuff like that, guys at 21, 22 that are doing the business, and kind of lesser, maybe not so much lesser, but lesser teams than Celtic, you know, and get paid a lot less money, and you offer them the contract, they'll come. And as you say, what McFadden was saying, Joe was saying it, you know, that players would want to come and play with Celtic. You know, this is going to be a massive summer for us.
But I think, like we said on the last podcast, you know, that first summer was a disaster transfer-wise under Rodgers, complete disaster. But since then, I think we've signed, I can't remember off the top of my head, 5, 6, 7 players, but all of them, maybe with the exception of one, have come straight in and been first team impactful.
Right.
You know, and Rodgers has got the influence now, so you've got to trust him with this.
And even you're talking about guys like Luke McCown, you know, you're signing him, he's been outstanding. You know,
McCowan, Bernardo, Kuhn, Ida, Schmeichel, Engels. I'm sure I've missed a couple more, but yeah, Trusty, they've all come in and become first team players.
Aye. You know, and you think, I don't know, Carter Vickers. Do you think we'd get anything in for him? Because he's quality, but obviously he's a wee bit injury prone.
He's a bit injury prone. He's probably not quite fast. Like, I don't know, where's the market? And if you're talking England, he's probably not quite. Probably never made it because he's not quite tall enough for a centre half. He's not quite fast enough at that level. But for us, he's fucking unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? He's absolutely perfect for us. But again, that's kind of that Mieda thing I was talking about. There's a bit of, it maybe just doesn't tick all those highlight boxes for them, but which is great news for us if we can keep him under the radar.
Aye. I know.
You don't see many centre halves down there, do you, that are like just touching 6 foot or just about 6 foot?
Aye, I know what you mean. I know. See, getting back to what you said, Scott, when you were away in the tangent about the Raith Rovers fans, I always laugh. Linda's old man, I've said it on this podcast loads of times. He's a mad football fan. He'd be a Motherwell fan more than anything, but he just loves football. He likes watching Man United and just watches any game on the telly. He still goes down to Motherwell games and that. But I took him to Celtic Park years ago, and he was always saying to me, fucking that Neil Lennon, don't know what he's seen him, fucking useless. And he came to Celtic Park, and I says, you watch Neil Lennon the full game, and see when he came out of the game, he's like, what a fucking player that boy is. You know, see, because when you're actually watching him in the flesh, you know, Dane, like, just what he does, getting the ball, gaining the ball, breaking up attacks, getting the ball, gaining the ball, breaking up attacks, you know, just doing what he does. And look, I think it takes to actually be in the stadium. When you watch somebody like that, that's not the best athlete in the world, he's not got a good shot on him, he's not like fucking scoring, whatever. But then when you just see him actually, when you're actually watching him in a stadium, how valuable he was for the team, it's fucking unbelievable. It's great to see when you see somebody, when they get in there and then they see it and they see it with their own eyes, and they're like, aye, you were right.
And the same thing, I'm interested in speaking to my mate who was at the game, Jerry, but he's probably not been sober since. But I want to speak to him about how he saw Engels, because obviously we're watching on the telly, you can see the running he's doing, but it looked like his off the ball running was immense. And you guys certainly know that you appreciate that off the ball running when you're live at the game, didn't you? Aye. So it'd be interesting to hear what the guys who were at the game have to say about Engels, because I was mightily impressed with him. Do you know what I mean? This is, and we all know it, but ultimately that's why you're spending £11 million on a potential player like him to come in and to raise the quality, because he's got the world at his fucking feet, then, isn't he?
Aye, definitely. And I think he's got the best manager. You know, it's like, we all know Rodgers can bring players on him, but see when I think Engels get interviewed, I was watching on Amazon Prime, but see on the Premier Sports, I think they did an interview with him, and he was massively complimentary about Rodgers and whatever. So I think they all take on board what he's saying to them and whatever. And obviously, the players must have been fucking devastated at the end, but still high as a kite that they've went to Bayern Munich and went toe-to-toe with them. And that was the most impressive part for me. It wasn't like you got a draw in Germany, right, and we get knocked out, and it's like people talk about the great games at Celtic Park. Herb John says his best ever European game was fucking the Partizan Belgrade game, and I'm like, I was fucking sick at the end of it because we get knocked out. You know, and it's like, but it was like young at the time. And see, at the end of the day, Tuesday night was a failure. So I was absolutely sick. And you've got all the dicks on Talk Sport, see that Jason Cundy, fucking I'd bury him alive, man. Fucking honestly, see guys like that. But wind up merchants, right? And you can get all the blue noses were fucking delighted we went out and they're fucking laughing and whatever. But deep down they must be saying to themselves, this is a fucking proper football team. Because I've never in my life seen us going away from home against a top-class European team, like top draw, and gone toe-to-toe with them and matching them in every department. And don't get me wrong, every Celtic player performed on the night, But it was interesting that Rodgers, he kept iterating, in the run-up to the game. Whether it was one or two interviews, but it kept getting replayed, so it seemed as if he said that about 30 times. But it was just like, I want the players to leave that stadium with no regrets, and it was like, fucking every one of them done it to the letter, didn't they? There's not one player.
I don't think we can talk, and I've heard this, people saying it, I don't think Tuesday was a failure. Yeah, we went out, but we drew the game in Germany. We didn't do enough in the home leg to get us through ultimately in that game.
But at the end of the day, it was a failure because we get knocked out, Liam. That's my point. It's like, I'm no one for celebrating failure.
I know, and we've had this conversation before multiple times, but just it's a bit harsh, I think, to kind of reflect that way. The result in itself was brilliant, but just not enough to get us through the tie over two legs.
And it fucking, as you say, massive, and then I'm going to say small margins. Massive, small margins, that doesn't make fucking sense. But you know what I mean? It was like just a wee bit of luck here and there, and just killer. Devastated, but as I say, very, very fucking proud of them, and like totally fucking blown away by how well we played.
Yeah.
And I didn't think we were capable of playing like that.
Yeah.
And it's a level that Celtic's played that, as I say, I didn't think we were capable of. And I didn't. See, if you go back 5 years in this podcast, 5-6 years, I was saying it's getting to the stage now that we'll lose Champions League games 10-0.
Yeah.
And I fully expected that because the rich were getting richer and the also-rans were just fucking modelling about and nothing was happening. And it was just impossible with our structure and the league that we play in and sponsorship and whatever. But Jesus, we've came. I'll tell you an interesting thing, Luno's that I work with, good guy, always got a good blair in him, but football, and he's very balanced. And he said something last week, and he says, do you know something? He says, see Celtic, he says, I reckon you're the best ran football club in the world. I'm like, what? He says, no, he says, see when you think about it, playing in Scotland, with having all that money in the bank and still winning leagues. And he says, all right, he's don't date in Europe, but he says he's starting to play well in Europe. He says, you name me a better run football club in the world.
Yeah, I'm glad you said this. I'm glad you said that. I was reading something earlier on today about this football to this 49ers takeover or whatever, and somebody made a brilliant point, exactly like that, Jason, saying if you look at what Ferguson did for Celtic, right, I know he splits opinion, right, but if you look at what he did, and if you look at what Peter Lawwell's done on the financial side, he said any other club would be building statues of him, without any dispute at all, and we're chasing them out of town every time and booing them, unfurling the flag and stuff. It's a really weird situation, isn't it?
But I kind of like it's interesting, right? So we can go on to talk about a bit of them with this.
It's fun. It's fun to boo rich people. It's fairness. It is.
And we don't trust anyone in authority. That's the thing.
Aye. I think that
there's a class thing about it.
Yeah.
But no, I just think it's healthy.
Who the fuck do you think you are? You can't.
But it's healthy not to trust people.
Yeah.
And
Jason, I've always said this, right? I don't trust anybody.
Aye.
That's my baseline. Right?
But it's unless you give me reason to trust you, but even then I still won't trust you. Do you know what I mean?
The problem is always people.
But the thing is as well, when you go back to the Celtic Trust, right? And a lot of people miss the Celtic Trust and whatever, but they've got Celtic's best interest at heart, right? And they don't want any faceless owners to come in and own Celtic. Because once they come in and they've got the majority, because that holdings company, is it Lindell's Holdings? I can't remember their name. They own like 20%, and it's just like a hedge fund or whatever, So we're lucky that Dermot Desmond owns the majority of Celtic, because hate him or love him or whatever, he's got kind of Celtic's best interests at heart. And we're ran by Celtic men, in quotes. But I get everything that they do isn't to our liking. It's certainly not to my liking, a lot of the stuff. But for a club, we kind of, the proof's in the pudding at the minute, the way we're sitting, right? But if you're to hand your club over, lock, stock and barrel, to faceless people that you don't know, then you've got no control over anything that happens in your club going forward. It's entirely up to them.
You are quite literally a spectator.
And the thing is, with that mob, they're in dire straits. So I actually don't think they're in dire straits, right? Because I reckon if they were ran properly, it could maybe take a decade, but they would probably, the tide would turn sooner or later if they were ran properly. Because let's face it, we've basically got a very similar size fan base and a very similar size, consumer profile. There wouldn't be much in it between us and them, regardless if we think we've got a worldwide support and whatever. But do you know what I mean? There's two clubs that's pretty similar sized, but if they were ran correctly, then they could turn the tide. It would take time. They would need to do it right. They would need to have a lot of pain on the way there. But if they were run correctly, they could turn it round. They're probably no willing to wait that. And then if they're willing to throw all their eggs and letting some Yank corporation come in and make them Leeds feeder club, then fucking mere fool them. But that's what they're all hanging their hat on. The interview, they're turning them outside Ibrox and like, get them in.
I know, but Jay, we are back to the Craig Waite fucking pre-Craig Waite bullshit. Like we had a chat about this before you come on with me and Liam and Scott. All they want to do is scream from the rafters, we are fucking on our way. There's a millionaire company, a billionaire, wealth off the scale. We are fucking on our way. Same way they did when Craig Waite fucking stole him for £1 and then rinsed house, right? And they appear to have learned nothing from that experience. So now they're back, but like some cunts come in and go like, the San Francisco 49ers are going to come in and fucking save them. And they're thinking Jumbotrons and floating casinos already again, right? In their minds, they're going like, it's fucking coming, the money's coming in. Because in their mind, Rangers are just worth pumping money into. They have never ever had the ability to think the way that a lot of our smarter fans and supporters would think, going like, listen, this is like there's a real structural business model behind a lot of what this is meant to be, what this will be. And you need to think about that before you think about, how much money are these cunts going to throw into our pockets and make us great again. But they don't get that. So they're making the exact same mistake now. So they will happily walk into the jaws of a lion just to be able to give it the fucking big lad. You know what I mean? And that is going to be the downfall. And that speaks to not just Rangers, but fucking loyalism, unionism, Protestantism, Orangeism, the whole fucking shebang. It's the same fucking tired cycle. And good luck to the cunts. They're going to need fucking helmets, at least.
Aye. But Scott made an interesting point just as I come on about like the Scottish League could potentially vote this out. I didn't. Scott, are you there? I know you're on mute.
Yes, mate.
Aye. Could you explain that to me? Like, what was because there was a similar, did you say a similar type corporation tried to buy Dundee United? Or
so we were, or is it the fans forum? No, the last one, the one before. And the conversation come up. I'm trying to think what it was about at the time. I think it might have been something to do when Bournemouth were putting money into Hibs.
Right.
I think so. It was anyway. So it got brought up, and Nicholson and Mackay both said that they were dead. The club were dead against third-party ownership of clubs in Scotland and multi-clubs, and they never said it. Somebody said to me away from that, saying that Dundee United had been approached to be brought into like a collection of clubs, and the rules state that they can't do it. It's something to do with, it's in the laws of Scottish football. They knew that they can't be part of this, and Celtic made their case that night that no, we're dead against it because we don't want Scottish football to end up a feeder league. And Dundee United fans were biting back, kind of going, aye, you don't want competition. Whereas, I suppose you can look at it that way, but who really wants their club to be a feeder club? Fuck me, you know what I mean? It sounds like the most horrendous thing in the world, especially when you've got Vitesse Arnhem, who's went tits up because of what Chelsea done to them. You know what I mean? They're an absolute basket case, relegated, or because Chelsea just treated them like shit. And once they don't want them, I think there's a case with a French club, the New. I'm trying to think who it is. And it might have been Bordeaux. But basically what happened was they were kind of bottom of the chain of all the clubs, and maybe it wasn't making money, but they were part of the structure. And then the tap banana in a David Murray-esque kind of way, the whole fucking world came crumbling down. So what do you do when the world comes crumbling down? You try to get rid of your debt, didn't you? And they basically just asset stripped the club and just let them die. And that's a real fucking case scenario. That could happen. Do you know what I mean? You think about it, this mob buy the Huns, and the Huns keep losing money. They want shot at them. And it'll not be a case of, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to hold it on to it until I find a good owner. They'll be fucking selling it to Craig White again. Do you know what I mean? And they'll not give a fuck. So whilst if I was a Hun and new, I would be excited at the thought of fucking an injection and taking them away from it. Because what's happening to them new is laughably fucking magic. Do you know what I mean? All these shares getting fucking dwarfed and kind of falling down. But so I do understand, but there needs to be a step back and kind of go, right, is this going to be long-term good for us? We spoke about it offhand. So basically, back to your point was, Scottish football have got things in rule about third-party ownership. So Leeds, the reason this Leeds guy, he's not been in the discussions, I think because he might be the guy. He might actually, they're trying to take it away from you looking like Leeds are involved. Do you know what I mean? But I really don't know the ins and outs of it because I only kind of caught up in the whole shebang last night. I need to have a sit down and have a proper good look at it. But like I say, Scottish football could be. Do you know the same way that the English League vetoed the Saudis buying Newcastle originally? Remember that? It's the same thing as that. Scottish football's got to look after itself. Do you know what I mean? It's got to. And it might upset the Huns, but it's just.
And see the thing as well, right? See with your like City group, they're kind of like a bit different because they're owned by a fucking country that's got fucking multitudes of money to do it.
Yeah, but that's the only difference, Jason.
These Yanks are trying to make money. They Qataris or whatever are just doing it as a plaything. You know, they're no.
Well, you've got the sports washing thing definite involved in all that.
So they're just doing it for something to do, gives them something to do at the weekend. But these Yanks, when they come in, they're in to make money. You know, they're into. And the thing is, most English Premiership clubs run at a loss, but obviously they make their money in other ways. You know, by fucking transferring debt and whatever. You look at Man United, the amount of debt they transferred, it seemed like Glazers never put a penny into them.
Well, that's the thing is that these are such big money making. I mean, in terms of like profits, But what's the word? Their turnover. Do you know what I mean? Like they'll have massive profits, but their turnover will be shit. But that massive profits, as you rightly allude, allows Kroenke, Arsenal, and the Glazers to take their fucking dividends. Yeah. So the club might be losing millions, but they're making their fucking dough. The dough's still exactly. And I mean, like, we were speaking about it just on the chat about how many Yanks are involved in the English League now. Liam's own fucking Aston Villa is owned by a fucking American.
Same by Everton.
Exactly. Yeah. And they can change the whole fucking scenario tomorrow. It's quite wild. It's quite wild. But I don't think. See the way that Motherwell had a prospective fucking influx of money, but they actually sat down and looked at what was involved and where it was going to go and how it was, and they went, do you know what, this isn't for us. I fear as Joe says, I fear the Huns are in the same position of we'll take anybody.
The fans certainly, but you would actually think, see the board, all right, they've probably made the right fucking balls up again Clement, a 3-year extension, and he's getting his assistant manager in and all that. And they went ball deep with him, and he's not produced the goods. The guy can obviously manage, right? He's done it. He's managed Monaco and Bruges. He's obviously no daft. If they could stop him doing post-match interviews, I don't think it's fucking bad. But
do you know what? I kind of admire his brass neck.
Aye. But see, the thing is, if they hadn't fucking blew the league, fucking, you know, and that Ross County away and Dundee away, they could have fucking ended up winning the league.
Yeah.
Do you know, and it was small margins, but they just fucking blew up near the end, and it just went absolute fucking pear-shaped for them. And then that Queen's Park was all weird, just like, but the guy, obviously, you look at their European performances, I reckon he's a fucking half-decent manager that knows what he's doing, but he's obviously fucking whatever, for whatever reason. But they've got that Cherny, he's going to be leaving at the end of the year, and they've no dough. They couldn't even buy that boy for Dundee for 400 grand. So they're fucked with money. And they're just looking for a fucking short-term fix. Fucking DN to change the status quo. Whereas the guys that are running them now have probably got a best interest at heart, but they know the regime that's been in before them have fucked it, and it's just like...
It's like stepping into a new job, going like, yeah, all the problems in the world, and you get in first week and you go, oh, fuck, this place is done.
But the thing is for that mob, right, see if they say, right, listen, we've got a 10-year plan here, and within 10 years, we reckon we'll be able to overhaul Celtic, but you need to stay with us. They won't fucking stay with them for 10 years.
No,
you know,
it's not about 10 years. It's about right now. What's happening right now? Can you win games right now? Can you beat Celtic? They beat us 3-0, right? And I think the entire squad had the flu. That's my theory. Right?
But
that placates them for a period of time.
Aye, but they'll have fucking but they're just a bit of a basket case, and there's no quick fix. But as I said before, they've got a similar fucking, in paper they should have a similar turnover to us, right? If they were ran correctly, if you get Dermot Desmond and Peter Lawwell in to run them, and they says he's 10 years, I'm sure they would turn them round about, right? They would, because they've got a fan base and they would have money coming in, and if you ran them correctly, it would take time, but you would get there. But obviously, there's no interest in that now, and it's just fucking. And then
as a football club, they're like your mate that got divorced. That probably shouldn't have got divorced, and now he's kind of spinning in the wind, looking for a home. Somebody to tell him that he's loved.
Joe, that's a perfect note for me to check out. Yeah, I think.
I think that's the end of the show. Joseph, I think we should.
And we said Brian McLaren.
Fuck. Wrap it up. Should Brian McLaren. Fuck him. Right. Anyway, I think that's us done. We're fucking 2 hours 6 minutes.
Before we go, can I just say, yesterday I attended the funeral of a good friend of the podcast and many Celtic supporters, Jeanette Finlay. Her mum sadly passed away Saturday. She was 98 years old and obviously had a massive innings, and she was obviously well loved and well respected in her local community, and it was an amazing service, and I was just glad I was there yesterday. My big mate Michael was there as well, and young Paul Quigley was sitting with him at the mass, and just say all our thoughts and prayers are with Jeanette and her family.
Yes.
And just rest in peace, Sadie. But aye, she had some life, and aye, she's
good woman, City, 98 years old, and you know what? I would have loved to have met the woman that raised Jeanette.
Oh no. I tell you, I've never seen females carrying a coffin at a funeral, and if there was one funeral I knew there'd be females carrying a coffin,
Exactly.
it was Jeanette's mammy. Oh, man, legend. So, aye, very, very sad, but obviously a celebration of Sadie's life, and just all our thoughts, prayers are with Jeanette and family.
Rest in peace, City. I'm very sorry.
Well said, mate. Well said. If she's 98, you can see why Jeanette's an immovable force, can't you?
I know. Michael is standing outside the chat and says, Jeanette better have a fucking good pension if that runs the family.
Do you know what? I love a bit of crack at a funeral. You know what I mean? Because it's like, if you can't laugh, then man, kind of.
The best one ever, I've said it 100 times. My mate from Liverpool, he's an old man, Everton legend, right? So he get buried in the chapel, and they took the coffin round about Goodison Park and that. And they're all walking out of they do it after it. One of them turned around and says, "Here, mate," he says, "I can't wait till your ma dies." He says, "What a fucking night that was."
I always love the George Best funeral story. You know that one?
No.
So when George Best was being carried out of his house in the coffin, it was the same time when they were emptying the bottle bins locally, right? And as they were carrying the coffin out, one of the local bottle bins, like they pick it up and drop it into a truck, right? Just smash the bottles, and somebody shouted, "Fuck me, they've dropped them!"
Listen, if you're quick, you can watch Shamrock Rovers and penalties now.
I got penalties, right, boys? Listen, that was good fun. Folks, we'll talk to you next week. We hope.
Good crack.
See how it goes.
Cheers, boys. So hell.
Bye.
Bye.